Hello, my friends. One of my jobs here on planet Earth, one of my joys here on planet Earth is to support anybody who wants to really soften out of the false matrix and gently enter into their true being, which I would call the new earth. It's a lot more than that. But since so many are talking about leaving the old paradigm, the false matrix, and leaving that timeline, and then enter into and onto a different timeline, it's probably an okay thing to say here that who we already are is what we call the new timeline. It's very new to us because we are so used to the old false matrix where everything is about lack, limitation, struggle, war, blame, shame, yada, yada, yada. So it really is very new to step onto this new timeline, and it can be very challenging. But I would say that so many of us who are light workers, who call ourselves light workers or star seeds. There's many beautiful names for those of us who came here for these times. And of course, we're also, like everybody else, struggling with getting out of that old energy. It's a very strong, familiar, powerful energy, very convincing, very pushy. And that is not necessarily our nature, of course, because our nature is love, is presence, is spaciousness, light. But because as light workers, we came here to really allow our light to shine in the darkness. And of course, so many of us got lost in darkness. And here we are, right? And so many of us have done a lot of work to step out of that and really come back into what we came here for. And it can be challenging because we ourselves have embodied that false matrix, darkness, contraction, limitation. And since that frequency of the fall matrix has been condensed, a condensing energy of the light, a pressing, a pushing, we are doing that to ourselves, not consciously, but let's say it's a misunderstanding. We forgot and we also got lost in that darkness, in that contraction. And it can be challenging because we are kind of in this default where we automatically resist our own light. I talked about that a little bit a few videos ago. And I think it's really important to understand that because in so many of us, this light, this new energy, the divine fullness of the divine, the expression of who we are is, we say, pushing on the inside to come out. But what's it pushing against? It's pushing against this density that wants to keep us small. And for many of us, we're right at that edge where we can feel the expansion happening, and we keep running into these beliefs, these false matrix beliefs and programming that have kept us small. And like I said, we have learned to do that to ourselves. So if I, in my light, can shine that on where those of us, those of you who are maybe doing that unconsciously, if I can shine some light on that so you can see it, then of course you will be able to stop doing that in whatever way you need to do that. We're all different. For some it's easy. Some of these things inside we can see immediately and we can start letting them go. And some of them are maybe 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 or 100 layers deeper. We're not fully aware of them yet. We just feel that there is some kind of a discomfort. And but it is really what we're here for as light workers, and not to get lost in it anymore. We are here to forge that new path of light. And the more of us do that and the more of us connect together, the easier it becomes because we support each other in seeing where we are going the wrong direction. We're moving into the contraction instead of out into the light and with the light. So when you start feeling this light, this being that you are, you can feel it, right? Because you want it, you long for it, you can feel it more and more. And then there is this unconscious part that resists that. It's as if it's not okay to want to be that, to want to connect with that, to want to rest in that. That is the old, twisted beliefs that think it's not okay to want anything for myself. For instance, right? It's selfish. I'll put the link for a free ebook download if you want that. It's called 5 Mistakes Women Make that stops them from getting their needs met. And a lot of that is that we are denying ourselves what we deeply, deeply want. And what we deeply, deeply want is who we are, who we already are. And that as that's pushing up, we start feeling it. We go like, oh, yes, I want that. And then bang, resistance. It's selfish to want that. I have to do things for others. It's such a thing that we do as women. And and then we don't do it. Then we give in, and then we start doing our old pattern, which is doing for others. And in that, we leave the path of light that we came here for. So it is a little twisted, but if you can start seeing that, and if you want to download that little ebook for free, you might notice things that you are doing and realizing, oh my God, I'm actually going in the opposite direction of where I want to do, where I want to be, which is let that inner light shine. I keep going out to the false matrix and start doing what the programming has taught me to do. So we are the light bringers, and it is a challenge. It's challenging. We can, let's face it, because we will always be up against the darkness, the contraction, because that's why we're here. That is why we are here. It is to bring light to that. It's not to get lost in it anymore. We have been, but now we are at a place where we are able to see it more clearly, and hopefully my videos will help you to see it more clearly. So it's not wrong that you are kind of in some kind of a battle sometimes, or maybe a lot. I've gone through a lot of that myself, and still do, but I can recognize it and I can choose like, no, I will not go into that anymore. I will stay here and just stay there in and as my presence, as the light, as this darkness is coming to and to me. And it might be in a way where people get upset with you, where they're calling you something, who knows what, that's the opposite of what you are. And it might be that things just don't work out that you want them to. Oh my God, I've had so much of that where I just fully surrendered and just followed and just followed. And then ploop, nothing happens. So I would say it was very frustrating and challenging for me for many years. And I had to keep letting go to the point where now, no, I am the light. It's really none of my business. What happens out here, that will eventually, fall in place. But I really chose to not let that stop me from just being this light and trusting it and letting myself be led by it. So if you feel that you're up against, could be family, neighbors, your community, your work, where you really are bringing in that light and you get so much resistance, don't think that you're doing anything wrong. And I'm not saying you're not making mistakes, and you can do it better. That's not what I'm talking about. That's part of the learning process as we move up against this, bring our light to the darkness start dissolving, but not everybody is ready to let their separate sense of self of darkness dissolve. So they're going to do everything they can to survive, right? And that's going to be through resisting us, anybody, anything. But we cannot take that personal. I know we do for a while, and that's just, you can't really help it, right? Because it feels personal. It feels like why are they not supporting me when I'm bringing the light? Well, they don't want the light. And by the way, do you remember that man 2,000 years ago? He was bringing the light, and it didn't work out so well, right? So we can we are in a much better place today because more and more people are able to realize and understand the light, to receive it, and or at least become aware of it, which 2,000 years ago there were not that many, and that's why they completely misunderstood it, and they killed the man. It's still happening today, but not as much as it is going to happen less and less as we just keep shining our light and do our best to not take it personal. That in itself is a big task because it's an old program that we need to break inside of ourselves to not take it personal. So when you don't take that personal anymore, when you start disengaging from that, then your light keeps shining and it will reach people in a new way. And we don't always know in what way. Maybe we will never know. I don't know. But I would say we know one thing, and that is that we are true to who we are and what we came here for. And that is more important than anything. What I think is important, where I can probably support my clients, is that I can help you connect with that inner knowing, with that inner feeling, and help you start trusting it. Get to know the flavor of it, the expression of it, the feeling of it. It's really getting to know it, like this intuitive, deep knowing where like, oh yeah, this is it. This is it. So no matter what's coming from the outside, and there will be a lot coming because as we rise in light, what is it that they say? The moths come to the light, right? So we keep attracting these moths that might look like it's cluttering the light, but it is basically because the light will dissolve that. So the more we can trust this, and it is some kind of a felt sense, when you really trust that, then you will not doubt it anymore. You will not doubt it when the outer doesn't seem to be reflecting it yet. And I know I have talked about a lot about, how everything out there is a mirror. The mirror often is that there's still something in us that is attracting these moths inside or to the light. And that's why we can go inside and see, what am I still believing? Where am I still resisting? And then it can shine more. And it doesn't always mean that there's no more issues. It's not my experience, but it's a lot less. And I don't engage in it anymore because I trust this more than anything. Because this is my path, this is what I came here for. And I will assume that if you are listening to my channel, that that's why you are here too. So hopefully today's video can help you just maybe trust it more, or maybe learn how to trust this more. So you stay here, let it shine, as opposed to leaving this, jumping out there of duality, believing there's something wrong with you, you're not doing it right, the people, the world, the situations, yada yada yada. You start engaging in that again, and when you do that, you have literally left the light, and you're not shining it there. So it's a matter of shining it. Keep shining it. No matter what happens, doesn't mean we can't do things. Doesn't matter. You can't say something, or say that's not okay with me. That's totally fine, but it's coming from here, from a power, from a clarity that is simply here to dissolve the light. And we're going through a mega transformation and purification of that right now. So very, very important that we hold steady in our light. Hold steady in our light. Dear light workers, hold steady in your light. If you need support, please reach out. This is my joy job. How's that? And I'm delighted to support anybody who needs that, to just stay here and start really trusting it more and more, so your heart can just keep shining more and more. All right, friends, let's shine this together, okay? Have a beautiful day.